afternoon. It's Sunday, and as part of my commitment to Korean meal, I said that every Sunday I would be reading a children's book featuring a Black character. Eventually, I will move on to characters of other races and ethnicities, but for right now, I'm focusing on characters who are Black. And I would like to introduce you to my friend, Grace. Grace is amazing. And I think that by the time that we finish this story, you will agree with me. The story is called Amazing Grace, and it was written by Mary Hoffman with illustrations by Binch. So let's find out a little bit about Grace. Grace was a girl who loved stories. She didn't mind if they were read to her, or told to her, or made up in her own head. She didn't care if they were from books or movies or out of Nana's long memory. Grace just loved stories. And after she had heard them, and sometimes while they were still going on, Grace would act them out, and she always gave herself the most exciting part. Grace went into battle as Joan of Arc. She was Anansi, the Spider-Man. She was inside the big wooden horse at Troy. She went exploring for lost kingdoms. She sailed the 7 seas with a peg leg and a parrot. She was Aladdin, rubbing his magic lamp to make a genie appear, and Mowgli in the jungle. Most of all, Grace loved to act out adventure stories and fairy tales. When there was no one else around, she played all the parts herself. She set out to seek her fortune with no companion but a trusty cat, and found a city with streets paved in gold. Sometimes she would get Ma and Nana to join in when they weren't too busy. Then she was Dr. Grace, and their lives were in her hands. One day, Grace's teacher said that they would do the play Peter Pan. Grace knew who she wanted to be. She raised her hand when they asked who wanted to be Peter. But Raj said, "You can't be Peter. That's a boy's name. You're a girl." But Grace kept her hand up. "You can't be Peter," whispered Natalie. "He isn't Black." But Grace kept her hand up. "All right," said the teacher, "lots of you want to be Peter. So we'll have auditions next week to choose parts." And then she gave them words to learn. When Grace got home, she told Ma and Nana what had happened. Raj said, "I can't be Peter Pan because I'm a girl." "That just shows what Raj knows," said Ma. "A girl can be Peter Pan if she wants to be." Grace cheered up. Then later she remembered something else. "Natalie says I can't be Peter Pan because I'm Black." Ma looked angry, but before she could speak, Nana said, "It seems like Natalie's another one who don't know nothing. You can be anything you want, Grace, if you just put your mind to it." On Saturday, Nana asked Grace to go out. In the afternoon, they caught a bus and a train into town. Nana took Grace to a grand theater. The sign outside read, Rosalie Wilkins in Romeo and Juliet in sparkling lights. Are we going to the ballet, Nana? Grace asked. We are, honey, but first I want you to look at this picture. Grace looked up and saw a beautiful young ballerina in a tutu. Above the banner, it said, "Stunning New Juliet." That one is little Rosalie from back home in Trinidad, said Nana. Her granny and me, we grew up together on the island, and she's always asking me, do I want tickets to see her Rosalie dance? So this time, I said yes. After the ballet, Grace played the part of Juliet, dancing around the room in her imaginary tutu. I can be anything I want to be, she said. On Monday, the class met for auditions to choose the best person for each part. When it was Grace's turn to be Peter, she knew exactly what to do and all of the words to say. She had been Peter all weekend. She took a deep breath, and she imagined herself flying. When it was time to vote, the class chose Raj to be Captain Hook and Natalie to be Wendy. There was no doubt about who would be Peter Pan. Everyone voted for Grace. You are fantastic, whispered Natalie. The play was a big success and Grace was an amazing Peter Pan. After it was all over, she said, I feel as if I could fly all the way home. You probably could, said Ma. Yes, said Nana. If Grace put her mind to it, she can do anything she wants. Now I'll just read a note from the author. If Amazing Grace has a message, which I often am asked about, it is that all stories are for all people. I believe this from the bottom of my heart. May you find the right stories for you and pass them on. The more stories everyone knows, the more likely they are to be kinder, friendlier, and more accepting of others. That's the amazing thing about stories. I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you have a great rest of your Sunday.